Every year, juniors at Lee Summit High School are required to read certain books as a class. And for students in Mr. Buxton's English 11 honors classes, there is one book that is really set apart from the others.
Into the Wild is about the quest for authenticity. It's about trying to live a life where your actions reflect your values.
Into the Wild tells the true story of Chris McCandless, a wealthy college graduate that gives away all of his money and sets out on a journey into the wilderness of Alaska. Mr. Buxton feels very passionately about what life lessons Into the Wild has to offer its readers, and when thinking about a specific quote in the book, Mr. Buxton tells us what he thinks the overall meaning of the book actually is.
We think a little bit more about, who we really are and what we really want out of life, and to pursue those goals, even if maybe it won't make everybody else happy. That sometimes that's going to be a better way of going about life. And so I think that this book does a good job of helping us understand a little bit more about humanity and society and so forth.
Last year, Mr. Buxton's lessons that surrounded the book inspired one student, Jesse Sanchez, to make the trip up to Alaska himself.
My uncle, he just moved to Alaska and he's very outdoorsy, so talking to both of them kind of made me want to try doing this big hike. Basically, I had to set it up with my uncle because he lives out there. I flew out there, and the second day we drove up to the trail and we just kind of started on our hike right away.
We talked about how people have died trying to visit the bus, so it's important to be prepared and to go with a responsible guide. And I felt good about Jesse because he has an uncle that lives in Alaska, and so he kind of checked all of those boxes as far as doing his due diligence.
Mr. Buxton was correct to be concerned, as the second river was impassable and kept Jesse from achieving his goal of reaching the bus. However, he isn't going to let this stop him from going back next year, and this second trip may help solidify Jesse and Mr. Buxton's views on Chris McCandless and his journey into the wilderness of Alaska.
I think we focus too much on whether we would do it or not, and instead what we need to think about is whether the decisions that people make are the right decisions for that person. And so for me personally, would I have done that? No, but I respect the fact that he was trying to make sure that his actions match up with his perspective on life and his values.
It was kind of cool that Chris McCandless did that. It was kind of inspiring, but it was also the reasoning behind the native Alaskans that are saying that it's kind of true. Maybe he should have been more prepared.
Jesse's trip has become a very proud moment for Mr. Buxton.
Oftentimes we think about school as one thing and life as another, and so when we can have these opportunities to see that what we're doing in class, what we're reading in class really does influence how we live our lives and the things that we want to do, that makes me feel good as a teacher.
Signing out for Tiger Broadcast, this is Jacqueline Berry.